Mahomes with a great year.
Don't get me wrong,
I'll be better next year.
it's still a long season.
The first training season.
Do I really have to explain how I'm feeling?
I feel good.
I don't get the flags like everybody else do.
That was an ugly game. That's what we do.
We showed we can produce.
We got room to improve.
Stack good wins together is what good teams do.
This game is a game for men.
All right, happy holidays, happy new year, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Junkies Sports Talk Show. I'm Thomas Bookwalter, along with the usual suspects again, David Frias and Ben Baker. Guys,
I am not Kaiser Soze.
happy holidays, guys. Good to have you
Thank you.
back. And yeah, it's the end of another year, guys. 2011 is about to become history as we look forward to 2012. But before we do, let's take a look back at 2011. And that's what we're going to do on today's show. It is the Sports Year Review 2011 right here on the Sports Junkies. So now, obviously, there's a lot of sports going on. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, local stuff, a lot to cover. So we're going to throw it over to Ben Baker, who's going to start us off with the story of basketball in 2011. Ben?
That's right. 2011, the Mavericks won it. Dirk Nowitzki was inspiring funny songs all over the internet.
This is a song about Dirk Nowitzki.
Hit it! Dirk Nowitzki.
I know this German, and his name is Dirk. Pass him up the rock and he'll get to work.
Dirk Nowitzki definitely drives the coaches loco.
He kicks out the oops and all your passes because he's lighting up the board for all the matches.
Oh, baby, what? You got 1, 2, 3. Best basketball player, Dirk Nowitzki!
He's got a bright blonde wig, some medium jumps. He's down on the block, ain't scared of no bump.
You're delicious, red delicious. Eats apples, red delicious. And they must be nutritious because Dirk never misses.
He's a nice little baller and he works every day. If you want to watch him play, here's where he stays. He's at the double AC.
Yeah, what do you do? Be afraid! Yeah, Dirk Nowitzki is German, mate!
Swish, swish. Each time he shoots the rock.
Yeah, Dirk, baby, go, what's that?
And we be lining down the block just to watch his German shot. He's Dirk delicious. He's not hot,
Number 41.
but he can shoot the rock.
Yeah, what? Yeah. No one can stop you, Dirk Nowitzki in the world!
And yeah, they played really strong the whole way through. Mark Cuban, of course, is gloating and dancing around with the trophy and being a general nincompoop. But yeah, we saw the Heat finally come to fruition with their three-headed monster of Bosch and Wade and LeBron. And they took them to the finals after upsetting Chicago, who had an extremely strong regular season. And then in the West, also, the Spurs actually finished the regular season with the best record, but Dallas took them in the playoffs. And we also saw the emergence of Kevin Durant's and Russell Westbrook's, to a lesser extent, Oklahoma City Thunder. And they're definitely a force to be reckoned with. And the Lakers also played very well and then got upset in the playoffs.
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
And that's what it comes down to, playoffs. And
Playoffs.
we're all wondering if Dallas can repeat this year.
All right, well, Ben, real quick, let me ask you, college basketball, who won the NCAA?
I believe it was UConn.
It was, yeah.
Dave gave
UConn.
me the tip earlier today. I'd forgotten all about it. But
We
Kemba
apologize to all
Walker.
UConn fans.
Kemba Walker looks like he might even be a force to reckon with in the NBA. He's a strong player.
That was basketball 2011, huh? How'd the Warriors do?
The Warriors were a little bit of a letdown. They did improve 10 games on their totals the year before, but they didn't play all that well.
Lots of injuries.
Oh, so now I think it's time to throw it to Dave. He's going to give a recap of football.
Right.
We'll do that. So in 2011, back in January, college football, it was Auburn who won the national title over, to say one more time, to close the year
Over
off,
Ben Baker's Oregon Ducks.
the Oregon Ducks, led by Cam Newton. So the Auburn Tigers were the 2011 college football.
All right.
That's enough, right? All right, so in the NFL,
Wow.
The NFL champion was the Green Bay Packers, who beat the Pittsburgh Steelers at Cowboy Stadium. Aaron Rodgers was the MVP, pretty much his coming out party. And, for Aaron Rodgers, a native in the Bay Area, supplanting Brett Favre. I mean, it's remarkable, but it's true. So Green Bay, and they haven't lost a step, going undefeated until losing a few weeks ago. But the Packers definitely look strong in 2011. As far as the NFL draft, Cam Newton, after leading Auburn to the national title, was the first person selected in the NFL draft by the Carolina Panthers, and he's had a remarkable first year as a rookie quarterback. When there was a lot of people giving doubts about whether or not he could be a good starting quarterback, but he's proving all the critics wrong in that regard. For the local teams, the 49ers, they hired a new head coach after the disaster with Singletary. They hired Coach Jim Harbaugh out of Stanford to right the ship of the Niners, and he has done just that. The Raiders, they let Tom Cable go, and they kept Hugh Jackson to lead the Raiders, and he's pretty much done a good job at trying to bring a new attitude to the Raiders and trying to get them into the playoffs. So during the offseason, the NFL went on a strike up until around mid-August. The only result of it was there was no Hall of Fame game. So other than that, though, the season did start on time. And, for the Niners, this is the first time they've had a winning record since 2002, I believe. The last time they made the playoffs was 2002, led by key signings such as Carlos Rogers, who's been great at the cornerback position. They drafted Aldon Smith, who's had a phenomenal rookie season. I think for rookie defensive end, he's broke the sack record held by Charles Haley, who had 12, I believe, back in 1987. Other key additions have been Dante Whitner at the defensive safety spot, and Braylon Edwards, until his injury, contributed and then since then been released. For the Raiders, Al Davis passed away back in October, the face of the Raiders, longtime owner. They picked up Carson Palmer in the middle of the season after Jason Campbell got injured, and Derek McFadden was having a great year until he hurt his, I believe, his big toe. It's kept him out, and that's definitely affected the Raiders. And so those are the highlights for the NFL of 2011, and I'm going to pass it right back to Ben with the hockey.
All right, hockey, the Sharks took it to the Western Conference semifinals?
Conference finals.
Conference finals, thank you, against Vancouver, who, of course, ended up losing in the Stanley Cup to the Boston Bruins, and there were riots in Vancouver. Yeah. And that picture where there was a couple making out in the street.
Vancouver?
You forget the picture.
It's the couple making out.
Yep. Yeah, and lots of people probably added the word A into their riot-fueled, Sucks we lost, eh? I don't know. I can't do Canadian accents.
Okay.
I think you just insulted the Canadian audience.
No, I mean, what are you gonna say? Vancouver's obviously very let down. They should have. They should have won it. Boston's a great team, but Vancouver was just as good. And in fact, Vancouver having one of the best regular seasons. The Sedin twins are obviously really good. Kessler and Luongo in goal. But they didn't win. Boston did, and the Sharks are looking to rebuild a little bit. They got rid of Heatley and brought in Havlat from the Wild, as well as Brent Burns, one of the top defensemen out there. And they also lost Setaguchi. So it's basically the new look of the Sharks is they lost Setaguchi and they lost Heatley and picked up Burns and Havlat. So now they're a slightly different team. Pavelski has grown into a frontliner. Couture in his second season. Now, Sharks are looking to repeat in the playoffs and hopefully make it to the Stanley Cup and hopefully win. I think everyone thinks they've got the talent to do so, and it's just a matter of stepping up and proving it. That's been the NHL in a nutshell.
Cool.
No Penguins. I think everybody thought Crosby was going to do well, but there were injuries and stuff. So moving on to Thomas. Thomas is going to wrap up baseball.
All right. Well, yeah, and we've discussed it before, guys. What an incredible baseball season, 2011, and the way it ended with the great postseason and the 7-game series with the Cardinals and the Rangers. I mean, this is going to be a season baseball fans remember for years to come. You know, when spring training opened in 2011, the Bay Area was looking pretty strong. The Giants were the defending world champions, and the A's had spent the offseason trying to make a run. They acquired some offense, Hideki Matsui, Josh Willingham, David DeJesus, who the Giants had interest in the year before but hadn't picked up, to back up their solid arms and make a run at taking the West from the Texas Rangers, who many people thought had been weakened, including me, many people thought had been weakened by the failure to re-sign Cliff Lee and bring it back for 2011. But as the first couple months of the season went, it soon became obvious the season was not going to go as planned for the Bay Area. Both Bay Area teams were hit hard by injuries. Buster Posey and Freddie Sanchez going down for the Giants. Dallas Braden and Brett Anderson, two of their key starting pitchers going down for the A's. Both teams underachieved horribly offensively, and the Bay Area went unrepresented in October as the Giants finished second in their division, the A's third. Meanwhile, outside the Bay Area, as the season wore down, some great pennant races were unfolding. Both the Braves and Red Sox enjoyed huge leads in their respective wild card races going into September before collapsing down the stretch and creating possibly the best game and the best day in regular season history, as we've discussed thousands of times already. Wild Card Wednesday, there's 4 games for the last spots in the playoffs. The final 2 wild card spots did go to the Tampa Bay Rays of the American League and the St. Louis Cardinals of the National League. After winning the NL wild card, the Cardinals went on to win the World Series, overcoming being down to their last strike twice in Game 6 of the World Series against Texas to force a Game 7 and become the 2011 World Champions after, as I said, one of the most exciting postseasons of all time. Baseball was not quite over after the on-the-field action ended. The sport finished off a great year by ratifying a new collective bargaining agreement, ensuring baseball peace and action on the field for the foreseeable future. Mm-hmm. That was Baseball 2011. Let's go back to Ben, who's got some local sports stories that happened here in Santa Cruz and in the Bay Area in 2011.
That's right. Well, in the skateboarding world, Raven Tershi, Santa Cruz native, won the, street skating in our, I'm not even sure if it was street or vert. Honestly, I didn't catch it, but I think all of us Santa Cruz locals are proud of him. So Raven Tershi winning big at the X Games. Also, my personal sport of choice, Frisbee golf, or disc golf as it's known. Nate Doss, a Santa Cruz native, won his 3rd world title, and the World Championships were in fact here in Santa Cruz as well as Watsonville and Monterey. And it was really a treat to see Nate win his 3rd title, and he's got a very promising future ahead of him. I think he's only about 26 years old now and in his prime. So that was very exciting. I got a chance to go out and watch that myself and even did some filming. You guys can check out my other TV show, Disc Masters,
yes,
on YouTube.
That's a good show. Yes, absolutely.
And Nate is one of our stars, and we're all very proud of him. So let's throw it back to Thomas and
yeah, guys,
other
2011.
stories.
Boy, we just wrapped up in a few minutes there. A pretty great year in sports. What did you guys? Let me ask you this: what did you guys expect? What is something? We'll start with you, Dave. What is something that you expected to happen in 2011 that did happen, and something you expected that did not happen?
I'll start with what did not happen. I expected the Giants to make the play. I expected the Giants to make a run at the playoffs. I wasn't predicting that the Giants would make it even to the World Series. I just wanted to see them at least make the playoffs, and that didn't happen. The Giants offense really struggled. The key components from last year's magical run, such as Cordy Ross, Andres Torres, they really struggled. There was Aubrey Huff especially. That's something that he'll to keep an eye on 2012, whether or not he could come back or make a comeback in his career. But obviously the big injuries to Freddie Sanchez and then obviously Buster Posey. I mean, it was like karma. Like from that point on, it just didn't seem like it was going to be the Giants' year. As far as something I expected that did happen, I can't. I can't really say. I can't. There's nothing that I had in mind that I predicted like around this time last year that actually came true. It's just that's the beauty of sports. You just kind of go along with it. Right. You make your predictions, and 9 out of 10 you're going to be wrong, even on the teams you expect to win. And then when it does happen, you kind of like if the favorite wins, it's like great. But especially when the underdog wins, then that's really I think that's when sports at its best because it's unpredictable. It's not predictable all the time.
Absolutely. I think, for me, I honestly expected the lockout in football to have a huge effect on the 49ers. I mean, this was a team coming in, a negative, I should point out, a negative effect on the 49ers. This was a team with a new coach. Alex Smith was a free agent, and everyone thought he was gone. I think I'm safe saying that most of the fan base did not want him back. A good majority of it, anyway, did not want Alex Smith back. New coach, because of the lockout, he could not meet his players, he could not talk to his players. So I expected the Niners really to be messed up by this lockout and not have a very good season just because there wasn't the communication there that there needs to be when a new coach is hired. Although I will say, I want to give Alex Smith credit because what he did during the lockout, even when they couldn't meet with the coaches, he stepped up, he called his teammates and said, look, we're going to practice. Let's get together, let's practice, let's get ready for the season so that when and if it happens, we're ready to go. And I think, for me, that brought me a new level of respect for Alex Smith because I think he stepped up and became a leader right there when he did that. But I definitely did not expect the Niners to have this good a season. I thought the lockout would completely screw them up this year. Ben?
Who could have expected this much success? Lots of people are saying just what you were about the preseason and how it didn't seem like he'd be able to meet with his players. And with such a short amount of time to prepare for the season, how could they really get any better? And, well, they got a lot better. I've been really impressed with the emergence of Aldon Smith. A lot of people are saying, the Pro Bowl roster just came out, I think yesterday or the day before, and people are saying Aldon Smith was a major snub. And that's not often you hear that about a rookie. So that's been really great. Justin Smith right in his prime. Oh, gosh, the free agent signings of Whitner and Rodgers and having Navarro Bowman really step up. It's been amazing how great the defense has been. And then Alex Smith and Gore and everything.
We should mention 8 49ers in the postseason. In the Pro Bowl.
Right.
Eight 49ers in the Pro Bowl, 3 Raiders. So we have 11 Bay Area football players in the Pro Bowl this year.
Not just that, but I think the 49ers at least have some more alternates, too, if people go down with injuries.
No, it's 8 in total
are
going to the Pro Bowl.
They got the punter and the kicker. So when it comes to kicking the ball.
Oh, no, their special teams have been incredible this year.
Yeah.
All right, guys, well, what do you think? Okay, we talked about what we did not expect to happen. What about disappointments? What was your biggest I'm going to break this up into 2 points. Ben, what was your biggest disappointment of the 2011 year?
Got to be the Giants. I don't think most good Giants fans were saying we expect to win back-to-back, but we sure wanted it, and we sure felt like we could be there. And we fell way short of the mark, especially with that pitching staff.
And sorry to cut you off for 1 second, Ben, but an important stat to remember is that the pitching staff statistically in 2011 was better than it had been in 2010 when they won the World Series. So with a better offense, who knows where this team could have gone?
I think the lack of depth and, of course, still hitting really glared. I think we all had to accept that, the Giants winning the World Series was kind of the stars aligning, and we kind of got really lucky. We had some sort of mediocre hitters.
The pitching, come on.
The pitching all the way, but
never say they were lucky to win. That takes talent to win a World Series.
Well, let's just say it was a matter of players that are usually not that good of hitters all of a sudden peaking at the right time.
Well, they came through when they had to.
Yeah. Right. Well, maybe the clutch meter was off the charts, but it didn't happen during the regular season, and they didn't get a chance to go back to the playoffs.
Absolutely, and I think for me, I'm going to say individual disappointment here was Aubrey Huff. I don't want to pick on the Giants too much here. There are other Bay Area, other sports stories, and of course, we're all huge Giants fans. But I think that's for us why we're saying the Giants, because we're such big fans. I expected more out of them this year. Aubrey Huff, just after the year he had in 2010, just the complete downgrading of his stats and his overall play this season was just a tremendous disappointment for all Giants fans and everybody to watch. Right. He went from a guy you could rely on to get the RBI to a guy you could rely on to move the guy over to third because he grounded second base. That's what he did. He even made a joke about it. He said, hey, if you need a guy to move the guy over, call me. I'll ground out for you and move him to third.
To be honest with you, that's a bad sign. It's great that he's got a good sense of humor,
right.
But he needs to
I see what you're saying.
That,
yes, Dave, let me put this another way. What was the biggest thrill of 2011?
As far as biggest thrill, I would say locally, obviously the 49ers, the resurgence. And you look back on the Niners season and their record, and it's hard to believe they actually had it was at least more than a 7-game winning streak. And I'm looking back at the schedule, it's like, wow, I mean, it didn't feel like it was a 7-game winning streak. It just seemed like they just kept winning, and they didn't lose for almost 2 months. That's incredible. That's really impressive, and maybe like coming into the season, I mean, if the Niners were at least 8-8, it would be a success. And for them to just outdo that, and then they actually had that big winning streak. I think that was really, really, that's to me the most impressive part so far of the Niners season. We'll see what happens in the postseason, but I want to go back to as far as disappointments, and I'm gonna give two names. Andrew Luck not winning the Heisman Trophy. I really thought coming back from college, he could have been a #1 draft pick. It's just a year later now. But he should have won. I think that was. I'm really surprised he didn't win the Heisman Trophy. Robert Griffin, he's the new Michael Vick. I guess the new future Michael Vick. Can do it all, run, pass. But and I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just a West Coast thing, or if he was in the East Coast, maybe he would have just got more votes or something. But it just seemed like he really just spent an extra year at Stanford when he could have just gone to the NFL, and he's already going to graduate. He's a super smart student athlete. So I would say that, and then Carlos Beltran, the mid-season trade, and he's now left the Giants, and Giants fans for the most part don't care. And I think that says it in itself how disappointing, because he was having a comeback year with the Mets. He comes to the Giants, and he didn't bring that spark.
And what the Giants gave up for him.
And what he did positively really didn't have a big impact as far as Giants, as far as being contenders in 2011.
It sounded to me like Beltran was kind of a Barry Bonds in the clubhouse.
Really? Is that what you heard? I didn't hear. Okay.
It just seemed to be the general impression. I heard that he was not super easy to get along with, and not the most social character out there. And when they bring you in to be the premier hitter on the team, I think you ought to try to share what you got with the rest of the team.
I don't want to spend too much time on Beltran, but I will say that the one disappointment with me for Beltran was that they picked him up and basically screwed Nate Shearholtz and said Beltran's in right, and that's it. Shearholtz, to me, I wanted the bat in the lineup, obviously. We needed offense. Beltran was supposed to be that offense, but I said they should put him in left. Because Nate Shearholtz, to me, defensively, when you have a team that's got hitting, you need all the defense you can get. And Nate Shearholtz, to me, earned that spot in right field. And he is the only right fielder who can play that wall on AT&T Park, that right field wall. It's a difficult wall.
Yeah,
consistently.
It definitely is.
He knows the bounces, he knows the ricochets, he knows how to play that wall. So that's the one thing I did not like. I liked getting Beltran for his bat, but I did not like the way they basically said, hey, Shearholtz, too bad. We've got this guy.
I think unless Shearholtz goes away, he's going to be a story that we're not going to stop talking about for the next few months as we look into the next season. It's this project that's been going on for a few years, and as well as he plays defense in right, I think every Giants fan is saying, okay, but that's a position where we need a 30 to 40 home run guy, and we still don't have that. It's what fans say every year. We need these big power bats.
I mean, give credit to Shearholtz. He did have a career year last year, though, before his injury.
Oh, yeah.
Before his injury, yeah.
We got to get a bat somewhere, and I mean, left field is one of those options, or first base if we can move maybe Belt out to left. But we got to bring in some power.
Another thing that I think was a nice story in 2011, before we get to our biggest sports story of the year, nice story, I mean, a tragedy turning into a nice story, when the Texas Ranger fan went for the foul, had Josh Hamilton throwing the ball with his kid and he fell to his death. The way the Rangers and Josh Hamilton rallied around that family and did stuff for the kid.
It's fantastic.
I thought that was a great story right there. Because, I mean, that just takes, they always say, MLB, all the baseball commercials, this is beyond baseball. That was beyond baseball right there. The kid goes to a game, loses his father. Yeah. And, baseball's about fathers and sons. And a big part of it anyway. And he was, Josh Hamilton and the Rangers were able to go around and rally around that family and help the kid out. And I thought that was great.
Yep. It was.
All right, so let's go to and the Rangers made the World Series again. So, All right, let's go to the, what do we think are our biggest sports stories of the year? And we will start with Ben. There, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's really only the second half of the year, the past few months, but absolutely the Niners are the biggest, I think, strong point for Bay Area sports right now. It's hard not to say it's the most exciting thing when, they've probably put, almost 10 wins ahead of last year. I think they've got 12 now going into the last game of the season. And last year they weren't even close to that. So I'm very excited about the Niners.
It's still a long season.
The first training season.
Do I really have to explain how I'm feeling?
I feel good.
It's
This season to come slap me. It's hard for me to come to work and be happy.
gang the halls with angry
Coaches.
Is this team emotionally soft?
I can't answer that question right now. We're going to conclude on that.